is now open for roll call. Commissioner Killeen has requested an excuse. Have a quorum present.
So much. Next item, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Everyone can please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Thank you so much, everyone. Next item, please.
Invocation.
Okay, today we'll have an introduction by Commissioner Hayes.
Thank you, Madam the Chair. Today I have the honor to introduce Professor Lee Talal Turfa. Mr. Turfi, a retired executive from General Motors, and he been a speaker on many occasions in the United Nations and the global issue. Professor Turfi put thousands of people to work through the automotive industry. General Motors, Chrysler, Ford. When I was young, I was one of those who benefit to start his life. He helped me, and I started working. I hope I never disappointed him, but Professor Turfi, author of 7, 8 books so far. One of them really got my attention very well through my life. I've been through different culture in different places. The Children of Abraham. The Children of Abraham address the commonality between the major 3 religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. That's why I felt would be good to hear from Mr. Turfi and let him bless our meeting today. With no further, I could speak about Mr. Turfi for a long time, but I could introduce to you Mr. Turfi.
Thank you, Al. Now that he alluded to one of my books, give me just a minute to explain a little bit about it. You know, you get these invocations by rabbis, priests, imams, but you never really realized how close these invocations resemble each other. You know, the bedrock, the foundation of Judaism, Christianity, Islam is prayer, and how that prayer relates to God and adjuration, submission, and supplication. Supplication is an entreaty, a plea. You ask God for something. So the most spoken prayer in Judaism is the Kaddish prayer, the Lord's Prayer in Christianity, and Al-Fatiha, the opening prayer in Islam. Just take me a minute to look at the similarities. With respect to adjuration of God, the Kaddish Jewish prayer says, God is exalted and sanctified. The Christian prayer, Lord's Prayer, hallowed be thy name. And the Muslim prayer, God is the beneficent and merciful. Pretty similar. If we look to submission to God, the Jewish prayer says, according to his will. The Christian prayer, thy will be done. And the Muslim prayer, thee do we worship. And finally, in supplication, you ask God for something. The Jewish prayer says, grant peace upon us. The Christian prayer, lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. And the Muslim prayer, guide us to the right path. One additional thing, as you remember when Moses went on Sinai and God told him to remove his shoes, there are 3 things, not before invocation, but before major prayers, 3 things that Jews, Christians, and Muslims must do, according to Scripture. Remove their shoes, do the ablution, and prostrate. So in the Judaism, you find this to be true in Exodus, Genesis, Numbers, and Joshua. In Acts and Matthew in the Christian Bible and in the Quran. So with that, I will now recite the invocation in Islam. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful. Praise be to God, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful, Master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed thy favor, and not those upon whom thy wrath has been brought down, nor those who go astray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I love education and learning new things, and that was awesome. Give us that information, so we appreciate that prayer and the explanation and the similarities that all of us live under in our faith. Next item, please.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Move for approval.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any corrections to the journal? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Report from the chair.
Thank you so much. Earlier this week, unfortunately, we saw that one of our employees of Wayne County's home was raided due to an ongoing investigation. I asked that the administration please allow someone to speak to that. And Mr. Assad Turfy is here to provide a little bit more context. Because this is an ongoing investigation, we're not going to take any questions today, but we just want to understand from the administrator's point of view what has occurred and how we arrived at this point in time. So Mr. Turfy.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you,
Morning.
Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Again, my name is Assad Turfy, Chief of Staff for Wayne County Executive Warren Evans. Just like the chairwoman said, this is an ongoing investigation. There's only so much that I could disclose, but I will tell you everything that I know that I'm able to disclose to you. This investigation started March of 2021, a little bit over a year ago. Wayne County Sheriff's Office, a tip came in, which led to the Wayne County Sheriff's Office to look into the tip. We didn't understand, a lot of times in law enforcement, I come from the law enforcement world, you get a tip, you don't know if there's any truth to it or not. You check it out. Sometimes it leads to things, sometimes it doesn't. Something here didn't look right. It didn't sound right. Which led to surveillance that's being conducted by the Wayne County Sheriff's Office that led ultimately to a search warrant at a residence in the county, which led us to believe there was more going on than what initially was told to us. So an investigation ensued. We kept it close to the vest because we didn't know, close to the chest, we didn't know who or what was involved, but we knew there was some county employees that were involved. From there, as the investigation progressed, we started to realize we don't have the resources to deal with this, so we seek the assistance of the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. The investigation was being led, and the whole entire time was being led by the Wayne County prosecutor, Lieutenant Don Ferris, who I'll be remiss to say that, to thank him for his hard work. He really was the one that was kind of quarterbacking this whole thing. Definitely did a great job through it. With that, we, you guys seen the news reports. Ultimately, it was a scheme where, vendors were involved, falsifying records. And there was approximately $1.7 million of theft by these two individuals that were charged a couple days ago. I can tell you that the vendors they are being investigated by the Wayne County prosecutor and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I don't work for the prosecutor or the U.S. Attorney. I can't tell you if charges will happen, but if I was a betting man, I can tell you justice will be served. And I can tell you that our corporation counsel is right now working with some outside counsel. We are looking to go after the vendor civilly for every dollar that was stolen from Wayne County and its taxpayers. I think that's, I'm just checking my notes here and make sure there wasn't anything else that probably worthwhile, but yeah, so the theft that we know went from August of 2019 to August of 2020, I'm sorry, January 2019 to August of 2021. So it's still ongoing. And as new information comes up, we'll definitely be down here to share it. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that again because it's ongoing. I appreciate that you can only say so much, but after everything is concluded, we'll certainly have a more robust conversation on this. The hows, the whys, what we can do in the future to make sure it doesn't happen again, all of that. So thank you for providing that overview today. And again, we'll make sure that we as a body stay on top of this as well as the investigation proceeds.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, members, as I stated, we'll continue to stay on this after everything is concluded to find out what measures have been put in place to make sure that things aren't happening like this again and making sure that justice is served and taxpayers' monies are restored. No questions, but Commissioner Bash, I don't think you have a comment.
Yeah, I have a comment, Madam Chair, and I won't ask any questions, but I had an anonymous person for the county says, we really need to look at also the extensive amount of overtime that these two individuals did also on the county's payroll, which is again taxpayer dollars. So if part of that investigation would be looking at the excessive overtime, it wouldn't make me mad personally. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Unfinished business, there is none listed. We are moving to page 2 of the agenda, offering up all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. We have 2 items listed. Item number 1 is a presentation on the Huron Clinton Metro Parks by Director Amy Mcmillan and Board Member Bernard Parker.
Okay, Director Mcmillan, familiar face, former Commissioner Bernard Parker, great to see you. You all can come to the podium. And this is the annual report that we get on Huron Clinton Metro Parks and the great work that you're doing. So I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. As indicated, I sat in one of those seats for 22 years. So it's nice to be sitting out in the audience and looking at, I know the presentation that was just made, and I know that you're going to handle it correctly. I am your representative from Wayne County that we have one person from each of the 5 counties that Huron Clinton represents. So you have appointed me to that position, and I appreciate that, and thank you very much. Just want to say a few things, and I'll turn it over to Amy to give much more details. But you may recall back in the, not recall, but back in the 40s, they passed a millage to support Huron Clinton Metro Parks, the 5 counties. And it still continues to provide about half of the resources that we need. The other half comes from toll that people pay when they come in and golf and other things of that nature there. And so we have had clean audits. We have had no problems or concerns at all, not only since I have been there, but before that. Just want to mention the 3 parks that are in Wayne County, 4 parks, I'm sorry, Lower Huron Park, Oak Park, get this right, Lake Erie, and I'm missing one. Willow, right, Willow. So those are the parks that are in Wayne County. They're all on the western half of Wayne County, which has always been a concern of mine that all the people in Wayne County do not have the same access to the parks. And I think we've been doing a lot to try to increase the participation of all the people within Wayne County to the parks. We have spent quite a bit of money right now in those parks. Lower Huron in particular has a new playground there. I think it was like $1.2 million for that park. And we're also increasing the slides at Lower Huron Turtle Cove, where there'll be 3 additional slides that are going to be added by next year anyway. It's been approved and the contractors are starting to work on that. So we continue, and we have continued to build an iron trail that goes through some of our parks, that goes all the way up to Iron, Michigan, down to Ballot. So hopefully one day we'll have them all connected, and you can get out there and ride your bike from Ballot to Iron. It's a joke. But anyway, it'll be there for some of the other people to be able to participate in. So with that, I just want to again say that I'm your representative. If you have any questions or any concerns or anything that you need, feel free to give me a call. Amy Mcmillan is our director. She's been there about 4 years and doing an excellent job in moving us forward. Amy.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners, for this opportunity to update you on the Metro Parks today. We're going to start with a quick 60-second video that gives you a great overview of what you can find in the Metro Parks. That's perfectly fine. And if it's being cranky, we can move on and send it to you as well.
Close.
All year round. That's 365 days, 66 when it's a leap year. Any way you count it, that's a lot of opportunity to get out of the house, get outdoors, and get yourself some fun. Now, if only there was a place close by where you could have that fun all year round. Turns out there is. Your Huron Clinton Metro Parks, where we're open every single day of the year, all year round, all 13 Metro Parks. So you can get out when the sun shines, when the leaves turn colors, when the snow falls, whenever the spirit moves you, any day of the week, any week of the year. Because here at the Metro Parks, when we say all year round, you know we mean all year round. They're your Metro Parks, and they're here for you, well, you know when. All year round.
Thank you. So we're going to move. I have a short presentation for you today, updating you on the work that we've been doing on the Metro Parks. But I'd like to thank you, first of all, for appointing Bernard Parker to the Metro Parks Board. Commissioner Parker is the best possible advocate you could have for Wayne County and the city of Detroit on the Metro Parks Board. He brings an incredible amount of commitment and passion for his constituents to that Metro Parks Board every single day. He also encourages us to be bold in the work that we do at the Metro Parks, not to look back on our 80-year history and believe that needs to be our future. And so I want to take a minute to acknowledge the work that he does, and the fact that the work that he does makes it so much easier for us to do the work that we do at the Metro Parks. So if you'll go to the next slide, Commissioner Parker reminded you that the Metro Park system is actually this year is 80 years old. We serve 5 counties of southeastern Michigan: Wayne, Washtenaw, Oakland, Macomb, and Livingston counties. And we have nearly 25,000 acres in our 13 park system. We generally have about 200 full-time employees. Like everybody else, we're really struggling to hire in all levels of our positions. If you know somebody who's looking for a great job, please send them my way. And about 900 seasonal employees at the peak of our season. The Metro Parks have more or less $7 million visitors every single year, and that continues to increase since the pandemic. Go ahead, please. I wanted to take just a couple of seconds to talk to you about the update to our mission, our vision, and our values. I know that it's a process that every organization goes through, but this is something the Metro Parks has not done in a very long time. And we wanted to utilize this opportunity to update our commitment to the 5 counties. And in particular, you'll notice that our mission statement includes all the people, all of their lives, because this is what we're here to do. And we've not necessarily done that as well as we could in the past. We are working very hard to have a regional vision, how we can cooperate and collaborate with organizations outside of our own to deliver better services and more opportunities to the people of Southeastern Michigan. Go ahead, please. Mr. Parker spoke about some of the facilities that we have here in Wayne County. The system overall has over 250 miles of trails, and we are increasing those every year. Trails, whether they are paved or nature trails, remain one of the top priorities of folks who live in the entire Southeastern Michigan region, including here in Wayne County. We have 78 playgrounds, we have mobile learning centers, nature centers, water parks. If you were looking, golf courses, if you were looking for a great outdoor activity, you can come to the Metro Parks and enjoy the best of what we have to offer. Please, next slide, please. As Commissioner Parker mentioned, I came to the Metro Parks just a few more days than 4 years ago. And when the Metro Parks board was looking for a new director, we talked about really revitalizing our organization and making a commitment to the region and the people who live here, and really focused in on that mission. Part of that renewed focus is a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion through the Metro Parks, both internally in terms of our workforce, whether it's training and hiring, and externally in terms of our service and our relationships with the communities that we serve. We've worked really hard to put systems in place to gather data about folks who visit the Metro Parks and folks who do not visit the Metro Parks, so that we can determine where gaps exist and how best to fill them. We work really hard to serve all age ranges, from youth to senior citizens, and are really proud of the work that we do there. And one of the big focuses on the Metro Parks I'll talk about for a brief moment going forward is our commitment to the environment, which is absolute, and again, continues to be a rising priority for the community. Go ahead, please. Hopefully you've seen some of our marketing and communications initiatives throughout the region, whether they're on billboards or emails that you receive, or you visited our website. One of the best ways to connect people to the resources that the Metro Parks have is to make sure they are aware of those resources. When we see surveys that say the reason people don't use the Metro Parks is they don't know about our facilities, that's what brings marketing and communications really to the forefront to us, to be able to connect people to those resources. Go ahead, please. I mentioned a moment ago that we are working very hard to make certain that our workforce represents the community that we serve. We are casting as wide a net as we possibly can to attract more candidates with more experiences and more qualifications. And if you know anybody who's looking to be a Metro Parks employee or be part of the outdoor parks and recreation field, we would love it if you would send them our way. You might have read a story last week in Cranes that one of the things we've done is added a number of benefits for seasonal and full-time employees. Part of that is a recruitment tool, but part of that is also the board's commitment to be a really excellent employer. One of the things we've been able to offer, and this year we amplified it, was a seasonal bonus program for employees that brings most of our seasonal employees and part-time employees within that really near a $15 minimum wage. Next, please. Stewardship of the natural environment is one of our top priorities, and increasingly it's a priority for the region. We just completed a needs assessment surveying folks throughout the entire 5-county region. And the last time we did such a needs assessment, we didn't really even talk necessarily about stewardship. But this time we asked those questions and they came out in the top rankings of responses across the area. And one of the things that was particularly interesting to us was the focus on stormwater management. I don't know if I can tell you 5 years ago, I wasn't thinking about stormwater management, but that it has become such a priority of the region, given the changes that folks have experienced over the course of the last several years, that the work that we do in that area has become recognized and a very high priority for us. Go ahead, please. I would be remiss today if I didn't take a moment to talk about the strong partnerships that we are working on in the Metro Parks. The Metro Parks used to be a very inwardly focused organization because frankly, we were an organization that's always had a lot of resources, but we can't do our job for the residents of the region if we are not working with others. So we look to partner with organizations to leverage our strengths, to leverage their strengths. We look for shared goals, and we look at the opportunity to create a stronger region by working together. Go ahead. A couple of our partnerships that you may be aware of, we have several in the city of Detroit itself. Rouge Park, our partnership there was one of our very early partnerships. It focuses on the stewardship elements of the park, particularly the prairie area. We are hoping that conditions will be right to allow us to do a controlled burn before it gets too green this season, but we've worked with the city and with private and public partners to bring some grant dollars into that area and to really preserve that unique resource within the park. Urban prairies are extraordinarily rare, and they're something that are greatly prized by people who visit the city's largest park. Go ahead. One of the things that we are most excited about, and which features a partnership with the Wayne County Parks. Alicia Bradford and her team are just amazing. This also is with the city in each of the 5 counties that we serve. You might know that 70% of the kids who live in the city of Detroit don't know how to swim. And those statistics are not a lot better throughout the entire region. So last year we did this big study to figure out why. We thought maybe there weren't enough swimming programs in the region. We might need to develop some more. But it turns out that the #1 obstacle to kids learning how to swim is the cost of swim lessons. And so last year we invested in the swim lesson program, the Learn to Swim program at Brennan Pools, which taught 500 kids how to swim. This year we have amplified that investment. We are partnering with Wayne County Parks at Chandler Pool to offer a free Learn to Swim program there. We are partnering with the city of Ypsilanti at Rutherford Pool, and we are Macomb County, we're working with the Y to do free lessons there. And we've got other conversations going on in Oakland and Livingston counties. And each of those partnerships look a little bit different. We're investing the same amount of money. We're providing $25,000 to support swim lessons at each of those sites. But because every community's needs are different, every community's infrastructure is different, every program looks a little bit different there to make sure that we are able to get kids who need to learn how to swim into those swim lesson programs. And we expect that over the course of the oncoming years with our partnerships, as we grow those programs, that we will be able to teach every child in Southeastern Michigan how to swim and how to be water safe, and hopefully extend that through their families. So we have big plans and big goals, and we appreciate the support of our partnerships, our partners to do that. And I got ahead of myself. You'll see that on the next slide. Thank you. And if you could move, I think 2 slides ahead. One more, please. There you go. So we have this great new partnership. It's actually a couple of years ago that we started the partnership, but everything took a little bit of a pause during the pandemic. Some of you will be joining the Riverfront Conservancy and all of the partners on Tuesday afternoon next week to celebrate the groundbreaking for Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Park. On the riverfront. The Metro Parks have made a $6 million commitment to this project over the course of 5 years. It includes having a presence in the park ourselves. It will be the first time in our 80-year history that we have had a physical presence in the city of Detroit. And we've been working with the Riverfront Conservancy over the course of the last several years to develop interpretive plans for the site. And we do programming with the Conservancy every month on the riverfront. You can move ahead. Thank you. And just a recap of some of our other major partnerships. We have been partnering with Beverly Watts and her team and talking about stormwater management and how we might work together in order to provide more opportunities, how the Metro Parks works currently with stormwater management. We've talked about syncing some of our MS4 permit requirements, and we're looking forward to having a major impact on this issue going forward. Again, we have just the greatest gratitude for Alicia and her team at Wayne County Parks this year. We are partnering to bring the first Juneteenth event to our systems jointly, and are very excited about that. That will happen on Saturday, June 18th at Hines Park. And then we've been collaborating on projects throughout the watershed to include the Huron River Watershed Council and others to improve the health of the watershed overall. Next slide, please. Connection to the natural world has been something that so many folks have really placed a much higher priority on during the pandemic, as we all needed to get out of our houses and be somewhere safe and improve our physical and mental health. Our parks have provided that opportunity, but we also go to school systems throughout the region to provide opportunities for people on site, because sometimes it's hard to get to a metro park. We are known as one of the leading providers of this program throughout the country. And last year from January until June, as kids were coming back to school, we went to 71 schools within Wayne County with our programming. And that will continue to grow as schools come back online and there are less restrictions. Next, please. Just a quick slide to let you know, we're always collecting data. We want to make certain that everyone knows about the Metro Parks. Pre-pandemic in 2019, we did a poll, and about 82% of people in the region knew about the Metro Parks. In our 5-year plan needs assessment results, that went up to 93.8 post-pandemic. So we look at that as a tremendous opportunity. Go ahead, thank you. As all of you know, parks are about quality of life. They are about the environment, but they're also about economic opportunity. And one of the things that we did before the pandemic started, just about 5 minutes before it started, was began to work with the Trust for Public Land to be able to quantify the economic impact of the Metro Parks. Go ahead, please. So these are all pre-pandemic numbers. Clearly, they have gone up since that time as our visitorship has increased by about 35%. But if you were wondering how the Metro Parks sort of pays back that investment in that folks throughout the region make with their tax dollars, we bring about $90 million of economic impact to the region every single year through the recreational value that we provide. Go ahead. And this results in over $62 million of recreational value directly to our visitors. Many of our residents visit at least once a year. Our most recent polling indicates the majority are over 4 times a year. And that brings all of that value to everybody who utilizes our parks. Go ahead, please. One of the biggest things that has come to light during the pandemic is how much parks improve the health of people who visit them. We feel better physically, we feel better mentally, but we also save money on healthcare when we go to the parks. On average, if you're a regular visitor to the parks, you can expect to save between $1,200 and $2,500 a year, which is money that then goes back to your employers and generates through the economy. So it is a virtuous cycle. Go ahead, please. Overall, folks whose property is near to the Metro Parks have increased property values, and that results in about $900,000 in increased tax value every year, which comes back to local units, and you can invest in parks and recreation, another virtuous cycle. Go ahead, please. And I know this is of great interest to folks sitting here today, the issue of stormwater management. So there is actually a way of quantifying the amount of stormwater the Metro Parks manage each year on our acreage. We divided that by region, and in the Wayne County region, that equals about $15 million worth of stormwater management every single year. And again, we're working with our folks on the ground in each of our counties to improve that every single year. The metro parks improve air quality with that tree canopy. Again, this is one of the things that came up on our most recent survey. Go ahead. And tourism. People come to our region because we have outstanding outdoor recreation, and the metro parks play a big role in that in our region. Go ahead. And you know all these reasons. You want to live in a place that has great parks and great outdoor recreation. That's one of the reasons so many of us live in Michigan to begin with, and it is a major draw to the southeastern Michigan area. These figures are pre-pandemic, and you can go back and look at them at your leisure on our website, where you can read the full report. And I just wanted to take a moment to talk with you about our pandemic attendance trends. We have seen an increase across the board in all of our usage of the metro parks after several years of decline. And we are working really hard, again, to make certain that as people invest more in the metro parks, that we are returning those dollars to those parks for people to enjoy. Go ahead. And you can see some of those figures as car counts went up. Go ahead. So if you've come to a metro park recently, you know we scan your zip code from your annual permit, or we ask you for it when you come in and buy a daily permit. And this helps us show where people are coming from, where we're missing people, and how we can continue to do better. And in 2021, we saw a consistent increase across all Wayne County zip codes in terms of attendance. In the summer of 2021, the average annual permit holder came to the metro parks 5.8 times. Go ahead. Golf. After years of decline, golf is back. Our courses are typically rated among the top 10 public courses in the entire southeastern region. So if you're looking to make a tee time at the metro parks, make that tee time early, because it's hard, especially on weekends, to get on one of our courses. And if you know folks who are interested in playing disc golf, our numbers are through the roof, and we have some really challenging, really exciting courses at the metro parks as well. Go ahead. Pools and beaches. Beaches continue to be the top priority of people in the southeastern Michigan area, and we have some really extraordinary beaches at the metro parks. We've been working really hard every single year with great results in improving our water quality through a number of activities, and making sure that we can keep our pools open, which, as you know, has been a challenge in the last couple of years. So we're really very proud of that. And last but not least, I wanted to share with you a little bit of some of our grant funding initiatives at the metro parks. We are millage funded. We have a bunch of different revenue sources, but we think it's important to leverage those dollars that are invested in the metro parks every single opportunity that we can. And in the course of the last 4 years in particular, we have been very successful with public grants through the Department of Natural Resources, Land and Water Conservation Fund, trust fund grants. And a number of those projects have been in our parks, in our Southern District, in Wayne County. And so you will see those under construction soon. And again, I just want to take a moment to thank you for all of the support that you've provided the metro parks. We appreciate you so very much. And if you have any questions, any concerns, any ideas at any time, I am always available, and you are welcome to reach out. And I thank you for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Mcmillan. That was an excellent report. Thank you for what you're doing with swim safety. That's so very important. Rouge Park is in my district, and I remember when the sign up came for the Brennan Park for the 500 kids, my kids missed out because we got there too late. But it is very important that we do teach our children throughout the region swimming and swim safety. So thank you for what you're doing inside the city of Detroit and throughout Wayne County. We really appreciate you coming here today and speaking to us. Are there any questions from commissioners on this very extensive report? More than I thought it was going to be, with good stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Thank you, Commissioner Parker, for joining us today as well. And we look forward to reaching out to you if we need materials that we can share with our constituents. We'll make sure that we reach out for you for that, because I think as we go into the summer months, people are really going to want to get out in those parks. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much. No questions, no comments. All right, Commissioners, thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
We're on item number 2, an ordinance by Commissioner Basham to amend Chapter 207 of the Wayne County Code of Ordinances, Public Nuisances, to divide the chapter into divisions, to add Title Division 1 and to add new Division 2 with sections 207 through 220 through 207 through 28, to prohibit nudity and indecent, lewd, and obscene conduct in public, to declare conduct a public nuisance, to establish penalties, to provide for enforcement by civil action, to provide for impoundment and storage of vehicles, to provide for the disposition of seized property, to authorize the sheriff to collaborate with municipalities to enforce ordinances, and to permit the reimbursement of the cost for incarceration.
Mr. Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What a great segue into talking about our parks. One of the comments the previous speaker made was about safe parks. Quite frankly, they're not as safe as they could be. I would like to thank on this resolution, this ordinance, I'd like to thank Prosecutor Worthy and her staff, Felicia and her colleagues, and all the folks that's worked on this. This has been going on for months to try to make our parks safer. But this requires 3 readings. This will be the first of 3 readings. And for folks that haven't been involved in this, and if I had not have rode with the Sheriff's Department, I wouldn't have known either. So because I did ride with them and I seen it firsthand, and they're the ones that really are pushing this, and I absolutely support it 110%. I have someone from the Sheriff's Department that would like to make a comment about what's going on and how we need to fix it, if that's okay with you, Madam Chair. And I was going to introduce Captain Sims, but one of the colleagues, one of the sheriffs, if he wants to respond about what's going on and give us a little quick overview. Thank you.
Good morning. Name and title for the record.
Good morning, Officer Tristan Moore, Wayne County Sheriff, Special Operations Unit. Inside of the park, Rouge Park, I've gone in and done some decoy work in there. I'm sorry. I've done some decoy work inside of there, and there's a lot of indecent, obscene conduct going on between men that go in there and they're doing sexual acts with each other. Anything that you can think of is going on in there. Used condoms all over the place. And this is right along a trail where families come and ride their bikes and walk, and people walk their dogs. You can literally look and see it right from the road where you're driving through. You can see men who pull up and come over there and park and do these sexual acts with each other inside of the park area. And it's going on all the time, every single time that we've been over there to do any type of decoy work or just to investigate what's going on. It's on a daily basis, and it's really, really heavy in the summertime.
And Officer, you speak of Rouge Park, which is again in my district, and I know I'm working with Friends of Rouge. Just coincidentally, yesterday we had conversation about increasing the patrols of the Sheriff Department on Outer Drive, which is a county road through Rouge Park. Can you talk about what used to happen maybe in Hines Park? Like, I think years ago we had that type of behavior in Hines Park, but because of increased patrolling, some no standing, no parking signs, that activity has decreased in Hines. So can you just speak to the contrast between Hines and what we've done there in Rouge?
Yeah, Hines as well. It was similar things going on in Hines Park, but the patrolling picked up in those areas. Certain signs were put up so that people would see them. It would deter them from parking there and doing the things that they were doing there. And we've actually become to, not have to be over there as much, doing these type of investigations in that park as much as they are in the Rouge Park.
Lots of hands. Commissioner Clark Coleman, then Vice Chair Beydoun.
So are these going on at all the county parks, or is it a specific park that you're talking about?
They're at several parks. They're heavier in Rouge Park, But we've found this to be going on as well as in Hines Park, like you said, as well as some parks in Plymouth as well.
Are we patrolling all of these parks? We have sheriff patrols out there in all these parks.
Can I jump in, Madam Chair, if I may?
Go
Point of
ahead.
order.
To answer her question, yes.
We were enforcing, but because of a recent case, the Wayne County Sheriffs have not been able to enforce for the last number of months. And that's why this is so important, these 3 readings, to get this done so they can enforce. And actually, I was only out there once or twice with Captain Sims, and was even cars from out of state. They use code words, language, media stuff, but also even our car was approached. So we currently do not have the ability to enforce that until we get the 3rd reading and this becomes an ordinance.
I still can't understand why our law enforcement officers cannot enforce when they break the law. That's my question. We have the county, we have Wayne County sheriffs who are able to enforce laws. So are you saying that our law enforcement officers are not able to enforce the laws out there? And maybe you can speak to that.
Sergeant Sons from Wayne County Special Operations. We do have officers on patrol.
Speak in the mic, sir. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We do have sheriff's patrol in the parks for this particular type of event. The marked units, the surveillance units, when they go into the parks, these guys, they'll scatter, they'll leave, which is a deterrent. But what we're doing is an undercover operation where we're going into the parks and enforcing the law by having misdemeanor cases put on these people.
And this particular item that Commissioner Basham is putting forward would do what to help you?
It would help enforce the civil part of the case along with the criminal part of the case.
Chair, if I may, could I have Felicia add to this for one quick second? Thank you.
Counsel.
Through the chair. So what this does, this ordinance does, is similar to the drag racing ordinance, so that we'll have additional laws that the sheriff's office will be able to actually enforce themselves, and then potentially determine this to be a nuisance and look at seizing vehicles as a further deterrent. So it's very similar to the drag racing ordinance that's already on the books. Those type of penalties and actions they'll be seeking to do for this type of activity as well. I know we'll get into more discussion in public safety in your committee. I don't want to get into too much detail here and speak for the sheriff's office, but they were having issues with regards to levels of enforcement and the type of things they could do. So they asked for this particular ordinance to be drafted and to assist them.
Will this ordinance be sent to public safety?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
All set, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Baydun, Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Basham, for bringing this forward. I fully support this ordinance being proposed. I have a question. Like I know in Dearborn, Ford Field, which is in my neighborhood, it says that the park closes at 10 p.m. And by the way, I want to give a big shout out to the Wayne County Sheriff Office for assisting in Dearborn recently. I know this is not related to what we're talking about, but they were out throughout the month of Ramadan because we had a big festival in Dearborn, and they were assisting in terms of traffic and making sure we don't have any issues. I rode along with one of the deputies, my good friend Rabi Hamoud, and we were driving. And in one instance, we saw a car parked at Ford Field. It was about 12 midnight. He pulled over and he talked to them. And he said to them that the park is currently closed. You need to leave. And they did. So like Rouge Park, does it have hours, what time the park closes? Do you enforce that?
They do have something posted there. I can't really recall right now because I haven't been down in the park since last summer.
They do have postings. I'm sorry. They do have postings, and DPD, it's been working that area as well because we're limited with the sheriff's department, but they do have signs saying what time the park closes.
And this is great, what's being proposed. I know like in Dearborn, we have city-owned parks. For example, could we have some kind of a cooperation with the local cities in 43 counties where the deputies, if they happen to be driving and they see suspicious activity at a city-owned park, can the deputies enforce this? Or it has to be only county-owned parks?
Basically, it's a county park, but anything in the city, the sheriff's department can enforce too.
Okay. It's good to know. I fully support this. Thank you, Commissioner Basham.
Thank you. Commissioner Haydes.
Thank you, Madam the Chair. We all appreciate what you do to keep the public safe and enforce the law. I have a little bit of concern at the present time and how much we put on the sheriff department. We increase their responsibility, and I know for a fact they short-handed. There are many positions we need to fill. It's not been filled in the past. And now we increase in the activity because the nature of the law enforcement against the crime, the increase of the illegal activity through the legal making the marijuana legal, that create more little bit of trouble on the street. My question to you, you feel you spread very thin on what you need to do, or you're not going to be able to do everything you need to do because of the number of the officer you have?
If you don't mind, Commissioner.
Those things we need, it's a tough question, but we need to deal with it.
Yeah.
We need to address, I mean, we could put too many law on the book and ordinance. If we don't have the human resources to enforce those rules, then we just have nothing but something on the paper, doesn't have the effect we need to see happening. So I know the public safety division beside the Wayne County Jail, it's very small for 43 community. The number of patrolmen in the narcotic department, you look the size of the county and you look the size of that department, and it's very small. So are you comfortable to be able to meet the need and all what we created with this new rules and creating the Division 1 or 2?
Commissioner Haydes, let me allow Commissioner Basham to answer that because that was part of his research when he was drafting this ordinance. Commissioner Basham.
Thank you.
It's an excellent question, except this is a complex answer. Nobody that I've met that are in the sheriff's department, when they sign up to be a sheriff, really envision being a jailer for 25 to 30 years. Believe it or not, the idea that they can get on the road and do secondary road patrol or mounted patrol or marine patrol or ordinance enforcement is something that actually gives them a change of thinking, so that actually they're a very tight group, and it allows them to do something other than just be a jailer. So, I've talked to young folks that actually get hired by the sheriff's department, and boom, they're gone because they don't want to be a jailer. So jailer is their number one per our charter responsibility, but also the fact that they can go out and help the public stay safe in county parks and stuff like that is a win for us, but also it gives them a chance to look forward on other areas of public safety. So So very complex answer, but most guys I talk to, it's not just about the dollars. It's about actually a job responsibility, keeping the public safe. If I may, is that?
Madam the Chair, I know Commissioner Basham have lots of experience in that area because of his that. But that's a question been on everybody's mind since I start with the county commission. As the charter read as the Wayne County Sheriff, as a jailer. But we all know the public safety division in all counties give the sheriff department the power and the ability to enhance and enforce the law in many different areas, on the road or in the park or in that. My problem with this, we address that issue many times about the charter of Wayne County. It's time now, if we have a problem with the charter, to amend the charter to give the sheriff department more power to be law enforcement in certain area, in the park, on the street, assist city. Then we need to address that. I would really urge the county administration and the commission, both council, to look into that area. And instead of keep tap dancing around the issue, let's address it. How can we make the sheriff department, law enforcement division legal in Wayne County, not only be jailer, and then try to see the number of officers we need. You know, the law enforcement, I don't know, I could be wrong. I heard it's less than 20 officers. Is that accurate number?
Are you saying for the
The
sheriff's
law
department?
enforcement side, not the jailer.
So that number, I'm not sure where you're getting that from, but I can assure you this, that all the agencies throughout Michigan are low in law enforcement. So,
Oh, okay, so we agree on that. So the problem is to make sure Wayne County, it's safe a place to live and do business and have recreational safe area. So we need to address that issue and see what we need and put it on the table for discussion.
Point well taken, Commissioner, and that is a larger conversation, but well taken, and maybe that's something that can be explored more with the administration and with the sheriff to possibly open up the charter to add that. But that's going to take a lot of council input as well as the administration's input, not the administration, I mean the sheriff's administration and the CEO's office. But I understand your point totally. To that point, Commissioner Baydun, the Commissioner Varga, to that point.
Yeah, to that point, Madam Chair, could we utilize the reserve unit within the Wayne County Sheriff to help and to assist in this enforcement?
that is something that I can't make a decision on. That's something the higher ups would have to work out. Myself, I couldn't address this.
Because we have a reserve unit within the Sheriff's Department,
We
and I
do.
know they do a lot of community involvements and their volunteers. I don't know, Commissioner Basham, if that's something you would look into with the Wayne County Sheriff's Office.
Now, I'm not sure if they'll be able to do the undercover or the type of the decoy work. They'll be able to patrol around, but what's going on is people are pulling on the side of the road and they're walking right within the tree line and doing what they're doing inside of there. So the units, you know, they can go around, but it's not illegal for people to park there. It's what they're doing there.
Okay.
That's the issue. So if we can address what they're doing there, that will lessen, if you know, those penalties, those consequences for what they're doing there. It'll start happening less and less and less, and the park will become a safer place.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to add something else to what's being proposed here. If we don't do anything, I mean, when you have these types of activities going on in our communities, that affects property value. People don't want to move into neighborhoods where there's a lot of issues like this going on. I can speak to you from my real estate experience. Thank you.
That point, Madam the Chair, the auxiliary officer doesn't have a power for arrest.
Right.
The auxiliary
just,
officer could be in the
drive around.
background supporting the officer.
Yes.
So that's why it's an issue. We've been talking about it for a long time. We need to start somewhere. I hope today would be the beginning.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Varga?
Thank you. The charter does say that the sheriff has to take care of the jail and also Wake County Parks. They must patrol Wayne County Parks. That is in the charter. So about the ordinance itself, I fully support it because whenever we make a Wayne County ordinance, any municipality can also enforce it and write under this law, and the money comes to Wayne County. So it is a very good ordinance. Congratulations, Commissioner Basham and the sheriff for bringing it forward. Any Wayne County ordinance where we can make money is a good thing and also keep our public a little bit safer. So thank you very much. But the charter does say that part of the sheriff's responsibility is to patrol the Wayne County Parks.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move that we I move that we read this ordinance for the first time and refer it to the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security.
Okay. Further discussion? And I will say that this is first reading and it's going to go to committee for further discussion. Then it'll be back here for final disposition. Commissioner Baker McCormick, you had a quick question?
I did. I was just wanting to clarify, were there warning signs in all of the parks currently? And as to the seizure of cars, is there a first offense, second offense? What does that look like?
If you don't mind, really quick, counsel, and then further discussion would be at the Public Safety Committee for all the details, but counsel?
So through the chair, if we can discuss that at committee, I think it's a little complicated, the answer. There could be a first offense, but ultimately any action is, you could lose your car potentially. But again, I think the sheriff's office should weigh in on how they will proceed with that. So if we can have that discussion at committee, it would probably be more fruitful and in detail.
Thank you.
That would be fine, but I think that's important to know as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dobb, I did have your hand up prior to, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Clark Holman actually asked my question, so I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's been moved for first reading and referral to public safety. Any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Here are reports from committees. Report A is from the Committee on Public Services. There are 7 items listed on pages 2 through 4 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to receive and file items 1 and 2. I'd like to move approval of items 3 through 7, with Commissioner Daw being the maker of the motion of number 3, number 4, and number 7, and Commissioner Haddis being the motion maker of number 6.
Been moved and supported. Any questions on these items? Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Dobb would like to say a couple things on item 7, I believe.
Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have anything to say on item number 7.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, can you remind me?
Number 7's the light in Canton.
Yeah, we're just very excited to have this light. I'm sorry if I had something in committee.
Understood you, I'm sorry.
We're just really excited for this light. I did ask some questions in committee about when it was going to be started, but I think we're all set. We're just super excited for it to come. The residents, really want this light to be there. It's become a dangerous intersection as more of the homes have been built out that way. So that's all I had. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Commissioner Recchi, any other notes for your report?
No.
Okay, very good. Any discussion on the public services report? Any discussion on any of the items on public services? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries, and I have Commissioner Dobb as the maker of the motion on 3, 4, and 7. Commissioner Hattis is the maker of the motion on item 6. Here on Report B from the Committee on Ways and Means, there are 4 items listed on pages 4 and 5 of the agenda.
Commissioner Varga.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of all 4 items.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion on the Ways and Means report? Any discussion on the items on Ways and Means? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
We are on Report C from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 2 items listed on pages 5 and 6 of the agenda.
Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move approval items number 1 and 2.
Your support.
Support.
Moved and supported the Health and Human Services report, the 2 items on the report. Any discussion on those 2 items? Commissioner Marecki?
I'd like to, Madam Clerk, I'd like to abstain on number 1.
Further discussion on the Health and Human Services report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries, and I have Commissioner Marecki as an abstention on 1.
Item, please.
Here on Report D from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security, there are 3 items listed on pages 6 and 7 of the agenda.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move items 1 as receiving file and I move approval for items 2 and 3.
Support.
It's moved and supported. Any discussion on the public safety report?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Knizik.
First, I want to thank our county prosecutor, Kim Worthy, for the great work that she does administering the grant dollars that are being provided under item number 3. I also wanted to state my very strong support for this grant and for the work that it does in combating violence against women. However, because of where the grant dollars originate from, I will be abstaining on this vote, but wanted to let it be known for the record, my strong support for the work that's being done there, and my thanks and my gratitude to the county prosecutor for her work in this space as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further comments, Commissioner Clark Coleman?
Yes. I too would like to congratulate our prosecutor. We're very lucky to have a prosecutor who is so committed to doing the right thing and to go out and above what is required of her. So I too would like to take this moment to say how appreciative we are to have a prosecutor of this stature representing Wayne County.
Absolutely. Thank you. We are lucky. Yes, we are. Thank you, commissioners. Any further discussion on this report?
Ditto.
Absolutely, Commissioner Scott, ditto.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
would you please allow me to instruct Tony over there to take back our comments to the prosecutor?
Absolutely. Tony, you'll take back our kind words back to Prosecutor Worthy. Thank you, sir. All right, hearing no further discussion, please vote.
Motion carries, and I have Commissioner Knizik as an abstention on number 3.
Thank you so much. All right, next item, please.
Here on Report E from the Committee on Government Operations, there are 2 items listed on pages 7 and 8 of the agenda.
Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move, pass item number 1 for the day and move item number 2 for approval.
Been moved, the support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion on the government operations report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
How much? Next item, please.
Here on page 8 of the agenda, upcoming meetings.
Please look at the upcoming meetings. If there are any changes, please let the clerk know. Next item, please.
Here on new business, there's one item listed requesting commission approval of placing the Charter County of Wayne's jail millage renewal, Proposition J, on the ballot for the primary election to be held August 2nd, 2022.
Okay, I think our Corp Counsel, Mr. James Heath, is here to speak on that.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the commission. James Heath, Wayne County Corporation Counsel. I'm here today to ask the commission to consider the renewal of the jail millage for the years 2022 through 2031. This is a renewal. You last reviewed this in 2012. And this will allow the county to continue to levy the millage at the 2021 rollback rate of 0.9358 mils. This is estimated to generate just over $45 million for the operation listed in the language in property tax revenue in 2022. I'd like to thank commission staff, specifically Mr. Helmkamp, M&B, our budget director, Drew Vandergriff, and CFO Huey Newsom, and also Nkrumah Johnson-Wynn, who I don't think is here from our municipal team with Corporation Counsel to work to bring this before the body. The deadline for certification of ballots is May 10th. And so this needs to be transmitted to the clerk prior to that for placement on the August primary ballot for this year.
Very good, thank you. Been moved, there's support? Support. Discussion, Commissioner Clark Coleman?
No, I was gonna move it, but she moved it, so I supported it.
Okay, very good. Questions? Commissioner Haydos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know this millage cost from the millage to the operation would be reduced?
Well, we certainly anticipate greater efficiencies in our new facility. The millage that will hopefully pass, that you all will put on the budget, allows us for all sorts of operating expenses related. So yes, we would be operating more efficiently. Whether the absolute dollars that we would request for operation of jail services will reduce, that's not something I'm prepared to be able to say today. Our new facility allows for greater operation, greater programming and the like, and as I said, greater efficiencies. Whether absolute spending will go down is not something, Commissioner, that I'm able to tell you here this morning, though.
Concern is if we spend all that money on new facility, and now the operation cost would go down. So our users, excuse me, for the money, we might have a fund balance on the end in the future by end of those.
Your lips to God's ears, Commissioner.
I doubt if we'll ever have a fund balance in the sheriff's office.
Well, if what we're doing, if we know what we're doing and we project cost less with the new facility,
right?
Then automatically that
no surplus.
Thinking. So
we
it's
would
wishful thinking.
wishful thinking. Commissioner Varga.
I think the estimated savings might be about $20 million, but this actually would be a lot more that we would collect than what we would save. So we desperately need this millage to pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to Director Heath, just wanted to say congratulations to you. I saw you in Detroit Cranes, right? You were honored there. You want to talk anything about that?
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
That's all.
You know, the benefit of having great lawyers and staff at Corporation Counsel is you get to take credit for all the good things they do. And so I'm very blessed to work with wonderful people and for have our entire office recognized was quite an honor.
Good answer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Corp Counsel. Quick comment by Mr. Helmkamp, who's been very instrumental in getting this to this point today. Mr. Helmkamp?
Yes, thank you. To Commissioner Hadis's point, I just wanted to make it clear two things. The language in the ballot proposal is much broader than just the funding of the adult incarceration facility. Also the juvenile facilities and then numerous other programs, work release, home detention, community restitution, and then the 1/10 to go for juvenile offenders. So the question of the budgetary support for all those facilities and programs is really what will be addressed by your efficiency question. But the second point I want to make clear is that this language stays in place and this millage stays in place for 10 years if it's approved by the voters. And so our budgetary support and efficiencies, that would not impact that.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much. Any further discussion on this item? And I want to make clear for our listening audience that this is a renewal of the millage. It's not a new millage. It's a renewal, and these funds are desperately needed to help in the operations of our jail and in our sheriff's department. Hearing no further questions, please vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Heath.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you so much. Next item, please.
Here on testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation, there are 2 items listed on pages 9 through 11 of the agenda.
Hey, Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the Chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, I want to honor and recognize the contribution of Wayne County's over 85 nurses throughout various departments. You are our frontline workers. You are our heroes. We honor the selfless work that you do, especially during the COVID pandemic. And in honor of National Nurses Week 2022, all of the commissioners here today have signed resolutions that we would like to present to each of our nurses. So I have a copy of one exhibit. And I also want to thank the staff for putting this all together. Pam and Jim staff, they did an excellent job. And I was also asked by the director, who was not here, Melita Jordan, Harolyn Baker is here as well. If you would like to say a few words in recognition. And most of the nurses are online. I don't think we have any in the audience today.
Baker, and then we'll hear from a nurse if we have one online. Ms. Baker.
Thank you. For the record, Harolyn Baker, Chief Operating Officer for the Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services. I just want to thank all of you for recognizing our nurses. The 6th of May and all next week we're celebrating Nurses Week, and the hard, countless hours, dedication, compassion, selflessness that our nurses within all of our departments throughout the county has given to our residents and to the work, especially during COVID. This is something they've been doing prior to COVID, and this has really tested us and tested our grit, serving our residents and serving our community. So I want to thank you, Chair Baker McCormick, Commission Chair Bell, thank you so much, and all of the commissioner for signing this recognition and proclamations for our nurses. On behalf of Director Melita J. Jordan.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if there are any nurses on the line who would like to speak briefly, I don't know if you can unmute them. Working. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Do you have any final remarks?
Just, again, we honor the work that you do and we thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing this to us. We have incredible staff at Wayne County, especially in our nurses. So we want to thank them again for the hard work that they've exhibited every day, but especially during COVID. So thank you, Commissioner Baker McCormick, for this recognition, and thank all commissioners for signing off on this. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to, with the indulgence of commission members, to read about the resolution that I sent out, and we ask everyone to sign, and thank everyone for joining on this resolution to recognize Lily Lester of Inkster, Michigan. She's going to be celebrating her 100th birthday. And I'll read really quick the resolution. It's she is quite a historic lady. She really is. And whereas it's with great pleasure that we, the members of the Wayne County Commission, recognize the life of Lily Lester of Inkster as she celebrates her milestone 100th birthday. And whereas Lily Lester was born May 7th, 1922 in Haddock, Georgia, and raised in Macon, Georgia, and was an only child growing up during World War II, supporting the war effort as a Rosie the Riveter. And whereas Lily Lester worked as an insurance underwriter before settling in Detroit, the city she would soon call home and devote herself to. In Detroit, she worked tirelessly, eventually becoming part of the larger political community and immersing herself in the civil rights movement of the time. She was also described as continuing the work others had done before her. And whereas Lily Lester has spent her life in service to her faith, in 1965, that faith led her to the Michigan State Capitol, where through her dear friend and fellow church member, Representative Daisy Elliott, Lily became the first woman sergeant at arms in Michigan's history. Lily very quickly became part of the Capitol community, earning the endearing name of Mother Hen, having once said, I was an only child, but a mother to many. And whereas Lily Lester is cherished and adored by her 2 children, 4 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. Therefore, be it resolved that the Wayne County Commission salutes and commends Lily Lester for her lengthy and historic life and for the positive impact she has had on the lives of so many. And it is further resolved that on this 5th day of May, 2022, that this resolution be spread at length upon the journal of this day's proceedings to endure as a lasting record of acknowledgement, and that a suitable copy be presented to Lily Lester at the time of the celebration. And that's coming up this weekend. So I look forward to being there and presenting that to her. She was featured in a online little story about her history and the history of sergeants in the Capitol. And she's a remarkable woman. So I just wanted to take that exceptional amount of time. Sorry. Thank you.
No, that's
Thank
all
you.
there. Thank you so much. That is so historic, and she's seen a lot over 100 years. So that's wonderful. And she is history herself. So thank you for sharing that with us, and tell her we wish her a happy 100th birthday.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think that is all the testimonies we have, those two. Is there a motion?
Move.
Okay, moved and supported. All in favor of the testimony and resolutions, please vote.
Aye. We go.
Back to the board. Back to the board. Amber Clark Coleman. You still on Zoom? I know, me too. Commissioner Hayden?
Oh, make the motion and then vote for it.
Motion carries.
Okay.
You know, I was dreaming, as I said, I hope I could present you with the 100-year birthday resolution, Madam the Chair.
I hope you do too, Commissioner. That would be a feat for both of us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Here on page 11 of the agenda, memoriams, there are 2 names listed.
Okay, just want to again give our sympathies to our DPS director, Beverly Watts, who lost her mom. Services were last week. I was able to attend the family hour, and I believe Commissioner McCormick was able to present a memoriam on behalf of all commissioners at the services on last Friday. So we wanted to continue to keep her and her family in our prayers. Any names to be added, Commissioner Hayes?
Yes, Madam the Chair, thank you. I like to add the name of Hank Johnson. Hank Johnson, I think Commissioner Anderson and I know him very well. Strong activist and community activist in the city of Westland. Chair the City of Westland Democratic Club for many years. Was very active of transforming the old school, Dorsey School, to activity center in city of Westland. He will be missed by the community, and our sympathy go to his family. We will miss Hank. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other names offered at this time? Hearing none, if we could all stand for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Keeping all that we lost in our prayers during this difficult time. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Public comments.
Public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who has public comments? Is there anyone here? If so, please come to the microphone. Have a 1 minute, sir. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time and opportunity to speak. Robert Pulowski from Southgate, Wayne County. First thing I'd like to chime in on is the last meeting I did spoke on. Excuse me. The last meeting I did speak about the transit proposal for the millage of Smart. For anyone who doesn't know, the primary election for Smart Millage is August this month coming up. I'm in the process of doing promoting within my city and some other cities surrounding as well. Getting back onto the presentation regarding the metro parks, if we would like to get the ease in countywide transit for Wayne County, doing more partnerships with Huron, Clinton Metro Parks. I know they did a partnership with Lake St. Clair Metro Park up in Macomb County to provide Smart Flex from the park itself to Gratiot and 15 Mile, and it's been a hit ever since it rolled out. And the same thing with the Detroit River International Wildlife Refuge in Trenton. We've seen ridership come in with the 160 going from Dearborn Transit Center to the Wildlife Refuge itself. I'd like to see more partnerships with the Wayne County Parks and the Huron Clinton Metro Parks. I'm also running for school board in the city of Southgate to promote transit options for students as well. We need to focus on, if we really want to get countywide transit in Wayne County, we need to focus on the major issues, but thank you for time and opportunity to speak.
Thank you for coming down. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience? Anyone on Zoom? Unmute everyone and see if there's anyone on Zoom. Is anyone on Zoom or on the telephone? You may provide public comments at this time. Okay, hearing none. Pam, you have emails?
Riley. Hello, Commissioners. As you may know, today is the National Day of Prayer in our beautiful nation. My petition to the Lord Jesus Christ for my beloved Wayne County is for a restoration of godly government, accountability, transparency, and protection of our inalienable rights that have been given to us by God. As persons entrusted with making decisions that are supposed to represent the values of the people of Wayne County, my prayer is that you will reflect today on how well you have represented your constituents and where you have not. Bodily autonomy is one of our most sacred rights given to us by God, and one that is being violated in the form of mandates from unelected bureaucrats, and we must continue working to see this unethical and discriminatory behavior stop in Wayne County. Leah Riley. Kate Levy. Hello, I urge you not to reappoint the 5 existing members of the WCAIA. This would be a huge disservice to our county, as these individuals have not been upholding their legal duty to the residents of Wayne County. To unilaterally reappoint these members when there are many others who are interested in doing this job correctly would be a violation of our trust. These people have had their chance. They have never conducted the required audit. They are out of compliance with the Open Meetings Act. As an artist, I care for where the funding that comes from our taxes goes. I want to know where it's going. I want to know that I can attend their meetings and have a say in how our tax dollars are spent. Thank you for refusing to reappoint these members. Stephanie Leon. I hope this communication finds you well and enjoying this beautiful weather. I am writing regard to the meeting to reappoint 5 of the council members to the Wayne County Arts Institute Authority, and kindly ask that the Wayne County Commission consider not reappointing this group of elected officials due to their negligence on reporting on taxpayer money over the last 8 years. They have never done an audit, even though they are required to do so by law, and to have distributed over 70 million of our money to the DIA. They held secret meetings for 8 years and have no public minutes for those 8 years, only becoming recently compliant with the Michigan Open Meetings Act after a citizen did a FOIA request. Please see this video of their last meeting for reference for all of the things they have not done for 8 years since inception. They can no longer represent us and be trusted with $100 million of our money for the next 10 years, and they should not be reappointed. From Billy Mark. I want to have the DIA to thrive. I want arts in Detroit to thrive. Is it true that the DIA hasn't completed an audit in the last 8 years? If so, has this impaired the board's guidance? I heard that there is a board reappointment process underway. If it's true that Detroiters are putting in $70 million a year and the board hasn't put the tools in place to guide the uses of those funds, I question the effectiveness of the board. Over the last year or so, it seems like the DIA is trying to connect with the city in ways that it may not have in the past. This is a great direction. How could that impulse be reflected on the board? Would the increased transparency issue increase the above desired trust and connection? Whether or not it would, I don't think 8 years of not keeping track of a great deal of public money is the right direction. Thank you for your time. Ava Ansari. I am an artist, curator, yoga, and founding director of Poetic Society's nonprofit in Detroit with 15 years of experience in producing multi-location telepresence workshops and performance art that provides an international working ecosystem of cultural intersections for artists, healers, and organizers in the city through the circulation of ancestral healing modalities. As a curator, I have worked with many museums across the US and the globe, including the Met, MoMA, New Museum, the Smithsonian, National Museum of Asian Art, Asian Art Society, Cleveland Museum of Arts, Bates College Museum, the Rococo Chapel, and the Museum of Contemporary Art in Detroit. Please reconsider your vote. I deeply encourage you to not approve the reappointment of the 5 members to the WCAIA, considering their narrow, long performance. This event has international turbulence and action items that could be pursued through the court of law. Lack of transparency and follow through. Is Mike Friedman. Come to my attention that the Wayne County Arts Commission is charged with appointing members to the Wayne County Art Institute Authority, and that tomorrow the commission will be voting to approve the reappointment of 5 sitting members. The current commissioners have been significantly derelict in their duties. They failed to do an audit, even though they are required to do this by law. They have distributed over $70 million of taxpayer money to the DIA without adequate oversight. They have held secret meetings for 8 years in violation of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and have kept no minutes of these meetings. In short, these current 5 commissioners should not. There should be an open and democratic process implemented so that they can defend their record against those who believe they can do a better job. Jack Corley. I travel in a number of circles within the Detroit art community. My sister graduated from Wayne State University with a degree in fine arts, and my son attended the College for Creative Studies. I have close friends who work for the DIA and others that are contract employees. Recently, I had opportunity to watch a videotape of the WCAIA meeting held on February 21st, 2022, and was frequently surprised by the lack of professional knowledge displayed by board members about basic procedures for administering such an important and large fund of community money. During the meeting, the vice chair even suggested an outside responsible for millions of dollars and a priceless collection of art assets. An audit, yes, please. The bylaws indicate appointments and terms are for 2 years. Is there any biological description of the current board members and their qualifications I could review? The terms of many members are up. How are they being evaluated? Are any new appointments being proposed? Is there any public input evaluating? Belly. I am an arts curator, professor, and writer. After graduating art school, I've worked in the visual arts for nearly 20 years now. First, at many well-known arts organizations in New York City, where I am from. And since I came to Detroit to work with Red Bull's Art Space and Eastern Market in 2019, I have been an active member of the arts ecosystem here. Tomorrow, you will vote to approve the reappointment of 5 members to the WCAIA, considering the way they have handled their appointments so far is far from equitable and democratic. I highly encourage you to consider allowing new representation. In terms of the lack of transparency and how followed through, they have never done an audit, even though they are required to do so by law, and do not hold public meetings or share minutes about how they disperse funds. Furthermore, there are numerous smaller arts organizations that could greatly benefit from support, but the funds go to the same well-resourced organizations again and again. I encourage you to allow for the reappointment to better represent the spectrum of the arts throughout the city by diversifying representation. Anthony Plessia. Dear Commissioners, will you be enacting a resolution to protect the electrical grid within the county from a possible electromagnetic pulse attack anytime soon? If you can't do that, will you at least pass a resolution that protects Great Lakes Water Authority's infrastructure and requires emergency vehicles to be hardened? Vehicles can be hardened from electromagnetic attacks by installing ferrite tubes onto their wires.
Speaking to the mic a little bit more.
Yes. The last is from Linda Campbell. I am writing as a longtime resident of Detroit to urge the Wayne County Commission to appoint a new roster of candidates to serve on the WCAIA. I understand that several on the current board have occupied the position for a number of years. As in any business enterprise, from time to time, it becomes necessary to acknowledge the work of the founding board and bring in new talent and leadership. I speak from experience. I have served as founding board member on many organizations during my 50 years of volunteer and paid work. Sometimes the transition is difficult but necessary. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for reading those into the record. I would like our council to speak to a couple of things because I don't want people to think that the information that was read is accurate because much of it is not. So council, if you could just kind of speak to the makeup of the Arts Authority as with the Zoo Authority, why they exist and what their actual role is.
Through the chair to this honorable body, the Wayne County Art Institute Authority was created to levy a millage to support an art institute, specifically the DIA. They're also responsible for negotiating and ensuring that benefits are received by Wayne County residents as a result of the millage. And they've done that over the years since they've been created. With regards to the operations of the Art Institute has operated in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. They have posted their meetings are noticed, their minutes are taken and are received and on file. Some of those minutes are actually on their website through the county's website. With regards to the Freedom of Information Act, they have responded to all FOIA requests. In fact, those requests come through my office, so I know that they've been responded to, the ones that have been received. So they are in compliance with regards to the Open Meetings Act and FOIA, and they have performed the duties that they are created to do, which is to levy the millage to support the DIA and to ensure that that contract with the DIA is in place to ensure that benefits are received by Wayne County residents.
Thank you, Felicia. I just didn't want statements that weren't accurate to not be rebutted with the truth. So thank you for that. If there are any further questions, those who are in the public that have questions, they can direct those to either myself or to your respective commissioner. But the facts are that the authorities, the DIA Authority and the Zoo Authority, are members who validate the millage dollars that are collected from the treasurer's office, and then we're simply send to those institutions to perform per the law of the millage that established them. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, thank you. Next item, please.
Reconsiderations.
All right, reconsiderations, there are none. Remarks by members. Let me first just say congratulations to our very own David Knizik, who received his master's degree last weekend. Congratulations, sir. I know it's very difficult to study, go to school, work. So thank you for your dedication and your thirst for knowledge, and great luck to you and how you're going to use that master's degree. Not to say that you haven't done well without it, but you're going to do even better with it, I suppose. So congratulations, sir. Okay, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to follow up on, at the last meeting, there was a discussion about the process that's going to be used to review the contracts that are still to be determined. I don't think we even have a list yet of what those contracts are for the Criminal Justice Center. It was discussed, and I know there was a process going to be put together, and I just wondered if you could give us an update on that.
The update is that I have a meeting with Mark, Felicia, and Pam at 1 o'clock today.
Okay. So we'll learn how that process is going to work.
Correct.
At that point. The last thing I have is, I think we were all, probably speaking for everyone, appalled to read about what happened with the theft, basically, of things that were bought illegally by a couple of the county employees. And, you know, first of all, I want to say that doesn't reflect all of our county employees. There Most of them, the vast majority of them are dedicated employees for the county and providing service to our citizens. But these two individuals, I hope we can have a cow at some point, or a committee of the whole, I should say, because it sounds different. But if we could have that at some point to determine what went wrong, how that happened, what is being done to tighten up that process. It's just inconceivable that that could happen and go on for so long. And that someone had not had the oversight, that had an oversight capability, did not catch that. So anyway, just I know you notice you're nodding your head about setting up that committee of the whole, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Once we get a little bit further in, as I stated earlier, we absolutely will find out what happened, how it happened, and what measures are in place so that doesn't happen again. So absolutely. Thank you. Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I wanted to take this opportunity again to formally thank the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Washington, Under Sheriff Mike Jafer, and my dear friend Deputy Rabi Hamoud for working closely with Dearborn Police this past month during the holy month of Ramadan, making sure that all residents were safe, with over 250,000 attending the Suhoor Festival for over weekends in the month of April. Not even one single incident. We're truly blessed, and I want to thank the entire deputies that were there, the reservists. They did an amazing job. Lastly, I was honored on Monday to have been invited to the White House to attend the Eid celebration, which marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan. It was truly memorable to be in the same room with over 600 Muslim leaders and elected officials from all over the country, where President Biden recognized the indispensable contributions of Muslim Americans to this great nation. It was truly an honor. I can tell you that Wayne County was well represented. It was an amazing experience. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. I had written down here that I was going to say that I'm so glad that you were present and represented Wayne County well in the White House and President Biden. So congratulations on that very great honor to attend that event representing Wayne County. Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say in reference to Roe versus Wade, the drafted decision that elections have consequences. That's all I want to say about that.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's much more I would like to say on that, but I am not. But I think that sums it up. And I think people will hopefully finally realize that elections have consequences. So thank you for that. And there'll be much more to come from this body on that issue, I hope. Any other, Commissioner Varga?
Thank you. I just want you all to know that I have been receiving, just like probably you have, many emails from the townships about the roads funding.
Yes.
And I am in touch with the budget director, and I'm very strongly suggesting that they have that included in their recommended budget that they will be sending us. And I'm told that they're going to be late. We're not going to receive it on time, but we will get it by about the time that they gave it to us last year. So when I asked when was that, he said July 9th at 4 something. So I'm hoping that we would get it before that, so staff can go through it and we can start deliberations sometime in August, probably the whole month of August. So we'll wait till after the 2nd, though, I promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments, remarks by members? Okay, hearing none. Is there